Hey, welcome back. This is Phil at the Laptop Trader channel on YouTube. Welcome back to our community. Email contact is laptoptraderphil@gmail.com. Caution, most stock traders lose money. Please protect yourself at all times. This is our monthly stock market update video. I'm going to include a few slides from Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 as a reminder to you all why you need to develop a trading plan and why you should continually practice your trade management, okay? Start by educating yourself on how markets work and then finding out what is right for you. Invest in yourself and then invest in markets. Reminder of money management, both personal and business money management. You need risk management in your trading, and you're going to need some trade management rules for when you're in these trades. So be thinking about that stuff, you guys, before and during your trading. The focus for this month was on holding for larger gains. I looked at 2 trades and some other topics in Chapter 7. So if you guys want to watch that video, that is live. We looked at some different charts like DRS. We looked at some other charts from last month. This was the reason why I took DRS, because it was in a monthly power trend. And then we also looked at what I accomplished on DRS. So that's in that video. And some of the trades I looked at last month that didn't work out. These are 4 that didn't really work out. Took a loss on Elon on that gap down. Designer Brands looked higher and then earnings came out and just never recovered. Ryan broke support. Palantir is still a live trade for me, so I went in depth on that video as far as Palantir trade, entry, stop, target, and management, and PLTR. Weekly chart, PLTR, and one of the reasons I took that trade. So that is really it. USM, I'm still in that one. United States Cellular, symbol USM, that's still a live trade for me. I covered that in that Chapter 7 video. And New Scale Power is also live current open trade for me. Why I used lower and higher time frame charts on New Scale. So that one looks good. And some numbers on New Scale. So let's get to some live charts. I discussed why different management is a choice and kind of why I use that management. Anyway, let's get to market review for June into July. Let's go to real quick barchart.com. We'll go to our portfolio. We'll go to some of these flip charts. Actually, let's go to a watch list. Maybe that'll be easier. Go to an ETF list and these live charts. Yeah, let's do that. So here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a pretty significant sell-off in June. Since it's the beginning of the month, let's take a look at the monthly chart of Bitcoin versus the US dollar. That is showing definite signs of breaking support, and that looks lower. Whether you're looking at monthly or weekly in Bitcoin, so we had, because this move up was so strong, this will be major support on this weekly chart, but it's broken this area twice now. Broke it once here, now it's broken again. For me, if I was in this, I would not really want to hold Bitcoin through that pullback, but some people will. It's their choice. Daily chart shows the same thing, right? So at the time, this was probably a new high at the time, and then this was the new high, but the pivot before that high would have been here. And so we've broken that support on the daily chart also. And you can see the moving averages, right? Price is pulling down these moving averages. Bitcoin at this time. That is a one to avoid this month. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. This S&P 500 monthly chart is just continuing to make new highs. These are the 500 biggest, largest, strongest companies. And while we had a red month here, April, May, June, and July have continued higher. Pretty strong market right now. NASDAQ, again, the biggest, strongest tech companies, making new highs. Same picture. NASDAQ is actually more extended up. And again, still making new highs. So NASDAQ is very strong at this time. When we look at the equally weighted NASDAQ, symbol QQQE, it's not as strong as the weighted index. Just made a new high though in July, so even the smaller companies within the NASDAQ are being pulled higher by big tech and big cap companies. This is where we get some what I would call divergence or a disconnect between markets. So the largest and strongest companies are doing very well. Tech companies are still doing very well. But this IWM, which represents the Russell 2000, not so much. We had back here in last year, December, this looked positive. December, January, February, March looked very positive for this index. And since then, it's done nothing but kind of drift lower and sideways, which just showing that there's not the participation in this very strong uptrend. Okay, this is the biggest, strongest companies. This is more of your smaller cap and mid cap companies just not participating in this uptrend. They're kind of holding their own right now. They're just going sideways, but you're not getting that appreciation in the Russell 2000 at this time. And so far, July has started with a red bar. So that doesn't look like there's, for the time being, any real improvement there. The industrial companies, as measured by the Dow, have also been going sideways, but they've been going sideways more towards the highs of this index. So this is, I would say this is more positive versus the Russell 2000. So the Dow Jones Industrial does look higher to me. If not this month, eventually, it looks like it should break out over that 400 area, that even number. So that looks, overall the markets look pretty strong, but just IWM is just not participating. The transport index is referenced by IYT. Made a new high in March of this year, but since then has sold off and went sideways. So transports also are not participating in the move up. There may be some companies within that are doing okay, but overall the index is fairly weak, or relatively weak. When we look at the volatility index, this index does not reflect the weakness in transports or small and mid cap companies. It really only reflects S&P 500. So that's why right now we have a low VIX or low overall volatility. So, and that has remained low for the last, give or take 12 months, which is another reason why the S&P 500 continues to go up, or it's an indicator of the S&P 500 continuing to go up, or as they say, risk on. So this is an ETF measuring mid caps, consolidating these gains up here for the last 3-4 months. But again, starting July with a red bar, I don't like that. Small cap ETF SPSM. Again, consolidating gains over 6 months. And now starting July with this red bar, looks like that may continue lower, but it's just the beginning of the month. One positive would be that this longer term moving average is pointed up. This is a 10-week and a 20-week moving average on this chart, or actually a 10-month and a 10-month and a 20-month. So, if prices could improve and start to move up, that would be a positive, but below this area would be negative on both small caps and mid caps. So now let's review our, 10 or 12 industries or sectors. Energy had made a new high in April and since then has pulled back. Still above the moving averages. The trend is still sideways on energy. If that would turn up, I would expect that to possibly be kind of negative for stocks as energy costs affect everybody. Right now it's just kind of treading water up there. Financials are consolidating gains near the highs. It's in a neutral area right now. Price has been consolidating over these highs to the left for 5 months. They kind of need to turn up. The financials are going to show some strength. Below this area would be negative, and above this area would indicate higher prices in financials. Consumer discretionary sector looks very good. Again, we have this big turn up, pullback, and then sideways for 6-7 months, and now in June and July we've been moving up. We've broken out over these highs here. There's still some resistance to the left here at below 200. We're currently at 189. But that looks very good for consumer discretionary to test. Come up and try to test these highs this year. So I like that. XLV Healthcare has had a big sideways trend for a long time. I do like that we had a strong move up since November of last year. We did have a selling month in April, but since then prices kind of came up and we've at least tested that high. If July can continue or just consolidate sideways and then maybe in July or August start to move higher, I would expect that to pull some of these healthcare stocks higher. So for right now, that's kind of neutral. Go either way. We've got the technology sector making new highs, just like the NASDAQ. So that is starting to get kind of extended up on a monthly basis, but what's extended can become more extended. So I wouldn't be surprised if ETF gets up to 250 or so before pulling back. That'd be like an even number. But monthly looks very bullish for technology right now. Utilities had a nice run up. This ETF was up. It made a low back in October. Made a pivot low here in February. Just kind of shot up from February to May. Sold off in June. Now July. So far as tested lows, it's got a bottoming tail there. Can utilities recover? Or will they sell off some more? So that remains to be seen. Price is above the moving averages. I like that. The moving averages are starting to curl up. Maybe this will just be an inside month or something, but utilities look, for the moment, kind of in a neutral, almost an undetermined area. That could go either way. Industrials, again, looked positive. Made a new high in April, but since then have not moved any higher, just kind of consolidated the gains. But I don't, if prices can start to move up again, I would like industrials to perform the rest of the year. It's related to the Dow. The materials sector is very closely related to industrials, so that has been back and forth. We got up, down, and up and down, and so this is actually looking weaker than the general industrials. Still above the moving averages, so again, more neutral, maybe neutral bearish on these materials. So that could go either way there. The communication sector tested these highs in May and June, and then broke out to new highs here early July. So this is just continuing this uptrend, this power trend in the communications sector, led by the usual suspects, Google and Meta. Two more for you. Consumer staples looks this double bottom low last year, and since then has just been pretty steady buying. In consumer staples, we had maybe a bit of a buying opportunity here in April and May. Continues to consolidate these gains. So far, we've got a bottom tail green bar in July. That looks like that can continue higher. That should really pull up some of these big consumer staple companies who've been, I mean, they just got beat down, some of them. So that would be an interesting sector to watch this month, consumer staples. Real estate is our final sector. That looks like it's just kind of, it had tested these lows back here, October, November. Since then, it's just been sideways since December. Not much to do other than watch real estate. If real estate could get moving up over here, over, let's say, 39 or 40 bucks, I would like real estate longer term. Price is starting to pull up these moving averages. Definitely starting to get some more volume in this ETF. So maybe real estate for 2024, late 2025, maybe. Start watching out for some real estate companies as opportunities there, because that could turn up at any moment. You get this nice void over here, this nice vacuum. Let's take a look at a few more interesting areas. Let's take a look at the dollar, simple DXY. Dollar has been pretty steady sideways since back here, back 18 months. It's had its ups and downs, but right now the dollar is just right in the middle, inside bar. That could go either way. If the dollar were to trade down and make a significant move down, that would be helpful to stock market prices. If it was to turn up, I believe that would put some pressure on stocks. 13-week treasuries are just still drifting lower ever so slowly, still over 5 points on the 13-week treasury bills. We've got 10-year treasury note, again, as not only an indicator of inflation, but an indicator of government spending and borrowing too. This made a high in October 2023. Since then has sold off, came back up, and did not retest the highs, and has slowly been drifting lower since April. So April, May, June, July. This longer term interest rate and over the 10-year period has slowly drifted lower. If that turns up, if the Fed sees some economic issues or they would want to raise rates, that would have a pretty big effect on the economy and the stock market. So that is just one to watch. Bonds are still in a downtrend long term. We made an all-time low in October 23, and since then, not come up much, just a little bit. So bonds are still in a long-term downtrend. This ETF here is related to high-yield corporate bonds. Those have kind of come up. They are above the moving average. That, if you wanted to trade that, there's definitely a void there. Over, I'd say 76 or 77. That could be that'd be a very long-term trade. Bonds and stuff like notes and bonds, they just don't move that much. But that's a symbol of corporate risk. So if those start to move up, that would indicate, you know, lenders wanting to loan corporations money, I guess. I could be wrong on that. I'm not totally sure how that HYG works. But, retail, it's made kind of this new level here where it's going back and forth. I don't see any real opportunities right now in retail based on this chart. It's just back and forth. It is a little bit higher low versus this long-term low, so just looks kind of neutral right now for retail. Semiconductors just have been on a tear, and there was a nice, pretty significant topping tail there in June, but for the time being, prices are continuing to push higher. So this monthly chart is pretty extended on semiconductors, but they just seem people seem to be willing to pay more and more money for these semiconductor companies. Similar picture in XSD. What else did we look at recently? We could look at biotech ETF. That looks sideways, potentially mildly bullish on that right now. You know, kind of made this turn, but not in a strong way. We've got this ETF, regional banking, for the time being sideways. This bottoming tail I like, but I don't like to follow the bar after that. That red bar does not look positive. Like, you know, unless that comes down and comes back up. That's one to watch. Regional banking is one to watch. Well, blockchain, that's definitely one to watch. Even though Bitcoin is in a pullback, this is kind of holding its own. It's blockchain ETF, so I like that over these highs. I like that over 37. I like block. There's a nice void, nice vacuum area here to move up into. There's definitely some resistance to the left with these bars, but that's showing some potential. Marijuana right now would be just still in stage one, not doing much. Had some promise earlier on, but since then, not much. This is an international Brazil ETF that looks lower. Pretty strong selling this year. Argentina, not bad. It's definitely having a pullback. You can watch return on Argentina, symbol ARGT. We've got Innovator IBD ETF that looks mildly bullish. I would say over maybe 29. That could be a buy. There's definitely a void or vacuum on that ETF. This one represents what is the Investors Business Daily 50 stocks. So it's just an ETF that follows the Investors Business Day, which is pretty highly regarded publication. So that has pretty decent risk to reward on that one. Let's take a look at oil. That has been selling off pretty steady until July. It's starting to get bought up. That could be a seasonal issue with oil, with summer travel. Natural gas still in the doldrums, still in a downtrend long term. Same with this is a 3x or 2x ETF stage one still. FDN, which represents internet, is in a very strong uptrend. Stage two, right? Kind of like that July. Looks like it's breaking out over this area. I like that. In fact, I like that too as a buy to get it up to at least 227. So that's a nice point wise. You're looking, 15, 16 points on that. Maybe look for stocks within internet. Then that ETF would be a possible idea for this month. Software, symbol XSW, that's also looking positive, like it's making that turn up. Say software over 156, 157. Look for software stocks as a possible idea this month. What else can we look at? What's this ETF? Bots. robotics and AI. So that's been kind of going sideways for 5 months. That could go either way. Pharmaceuticals looks like kind of came down, went back up, came down again. I don't like that chart on pharmaceuticals. That's just doesn't look constructive to me. Solar, symbol tan. Again, still in this long-term downtrend, sideways trend near the lows. I don't like that. I don't like anything near the lows like that. Remember, it's the exact reverse of stocks making new highs. Stocks making or ETFs making new lows will tend to keep making new lows until proven otherwise. Same with stocks making new highs. Until proven otherwise, stocks can just keep going up. How about cloud computing, Sky? Looks good, right? Cloud computing looks still popular. This bottoming tail has been ignored. So I like Sky over 98 and move up, fill this vacuum up to 120. So Sky or cloud computing, look for stocks within those industries. What else do we have? We've got, what was this one? So yeah, that's just a symbol. That just follows the index versus following the ETF. So that's making new highs in the NASDAQ. U.S. home construction is definitely at a pullback from these highs up around 116, 117. So that's pulled back. Pretty significant pullback in home building. Watch for a turn in that. If that is to turn back up, could be an opportunity. Let's take a look at GDX gold miners. That looks constructive as far as the long opportunities in gold miners. It's just there's a lot of back and forth in this chart. In the last 4 months, it looks like it's starting to resolve itself to the upside. So we had a top and tail, another top and tail in May. Then we had a red bar with a bottoming tail in June, and now we've got this green bar, which just basically opened here and just started moving up in July in the gold miner. So that looks very constructive to me to not only test these highs, but move up here, up around the 41 area, $40, 41 area in gold miners. So that looks positive for gold miners. What gold looks like. Gold looks, just made a new high in, what's that, May? Yeah, May. Pull back in June, and now looks like that could be resuming that uptrend in gold. So that is interesting. Silver shares, more of a continuation pattern where we had a big move up, pull back in June, and looks like a 180 reversal here so far in July. That looks higher for silver. And then copper miners, similar pattern where it had a top and tail, pulled off in June, now a reversal in July so far. So that looks higher for copper. So these metal stocks are indicating that one, there's still some growth in the economy, which is good, and two, there's also still some inflation in the economy as measured by commodities. Very similar picture there in the U.S. copper ETF. So that looks higher. That's interesting. I didn't expect that. Corn, still in a major downtrend on corn. U.S. oil fund. This had a big, this rounded price action, then it could make a new high, but it did make a higher low. Could make a new high. We've got a green bar with a bottoming tail. Not a very big bottoming tail, but this is a monthly chart, and then closed here, and then it's open so far in July towards these highs. So again, the case for oil to go higher seems to be present. It does have a small topping tail there so far in July, but it's at the highs of that previous bar. So that's interesting about oil too. Oil and gas exploration is pulling back, even though oil's trading near the highs. So we'll see if that turns up. That's interesting. PAVE, which represents infrastructure, been pulling back for 3 or 4 months. So we can watch and see if that makes a turn up and PAVE. This represents agriculture. And that's been pulling back. Corn, I would expect that with corn and pulling back. This is kind of trading towards the bottom half of this red bar. We'll see if that could reverse course. When it comes to agriculture, base metals are looking higher as a continuation over this wide range green bar. There's a vacuum over in this area to move into. Base metals looks like they're moving higher. Commodities are sideways. If these metals and if these commodities start to move higher, and if interest rates move higher, that will definitely be a buzzkill for stocks and equities. This software ETF looks like that's going to start making new highs. It's had a nice run. And this ETF, this cannabis ETF, is just going sideways. Stage one. Cannabis looked good earlier in the year, but it just hasn't panned out. So that's it for that this month's review of the monthly charts. Let's see if we can come up with quickly some names for you guys to consider. Let's look at this month's list, which would have been June's list. Let's see if there's anything here that really pops out and says this could be a real good stock for this month. I'm gonna go quickly through this because I don't want to waste a lot of time. Right off the bat, I don't like that one. I don't really like that one. Yeah, I would not do it that. Micron, I don't like that either. That looks like that's getting ready to sell off some more. Uber, kind of like Uber. Uber is definitely on my weekly watch list. Made this bottoming pattern, then came up, went sideways for 40s, then came up, then went sideways again. And now we're getting more of these bottoming tail bars. That's a really significant bottoming tail bar there. Not seeing any major volume. Look at this green bar. Now we got another inside green bar. I would say if we get a major green bar here, that would be a buy, especially closed at or near over these highs. I would say over 72.5. I like Uber. That's an idea. Intel starting to make a turn on the bottom. This has just been one of those semiconductor stocks that has not participated. It's basically made a 2 month bottom here and it's finally popping up out of that. That right now is just a watch, but that looks like maybe institutions are starting to consider Intel as an investment. Walmart just made a new high. I like that. So Walmart's looks like a great idea. Positive reaction to earnings. Drifted higher, indicating there's not a lot of selling. And then puts in this wide range bar. Wow. I don't know when earnings are next, but if you were to consider Walmart, check earnings and see if this gives us some sort of buy setup on Walmart. That's an idea. So there's 2 or 3 ideas so far. This one is in a long-term uptrend, has pulled back. Some selling, some sideways action. I've got a bottom tail, green bar. This could get moving up again, maybe over, I'd say over 98. VRT. I like this lot. This is more expensive stock. Verisk Analytics, symbol VRSK. Just made a new high on the daily chart. A little bit of a 3-bar turn there at the 20-period moving average. This would have been a breakout on this bar. This looks like that's going to continue to make new highs. I like that. Don't like that. That's a possible idea. That really got sold hard after earnings last time. I don't like that. That's a negative, but this definitely made a bottom and has come up. Here's a little buy set up there. This looks good over 96.5. Let's check out the weekly chart on that. What's the weekly chart? Yeah, weekly chart's starting to make a little bit of a turn there. Still quite a bit of resistance to the left. That's not the best looking chart, but that's something to watch. Symbol BWXT. Watch that one. Fluor made a big move up. Now it's kind of made this turn after that. I like that. Big volume on that too. So this could give you a decent risk to reward. Almost a 1, 2, 3. Test the highs would be, I don't know, 1.5 points. Risk to reward on that would be about $1.50. Yeah. That starts, gives you maybe an inside bar here or something. That could be an idea. FLR. Marathon making a bottoming pattern. That's on the watch list. AT&T has made a strong move up. Strong move in communication. So watch for this to make a turn or a buy setup in AT&T. All these mobile companies have been making nice turns lately. I kind of like this U.S. Cellular a little bit better because it's had better pricing than AT&T. Nice bottoming tail Friday. I would say over 57.5. I like U.S. Cellular. Akamai downtrend. Starting to make a turn. That's just a watch. Oh, no, I don't like that. Vistra Energy. So if oil makes a turn up, maybe this energy stock could also make the turn up here. It looks pretty good over this area. Look at over 94, 95. I like that one. VST. Rider, not so much. Autoliv, no. GSHD Insurance, Goosehead Insurance. No, that's not really. Don't really like that one. This insurance company just made a new low. Definitely don't like that. Han Industries had a double top sell off. Don't really like that right now. Pins, Pinterest company. Kind of like pins. Had a nice reaction to earnings, went sideways forever. Broke out, pulled back, came back up, pulled back, made a new high, and now it's pulled back. So if this can kind of get going again, that doesn't look too bad. That would give you a decent risk reward. These bars are fairly tight. Don't like that gap down there. I would say we get over that 44.20 area. I kind of like that one, especially if we get some sort of wide range bar over here. That would make it an easier decision. So that's one to watch. Pins. TJX making new highs in TJX. That's a strong company. I like that consolidation in the wide range bar here. That looks positive. That looks higher. Mara has been all over the place. Palantir, I already talked about that in my other video. But that is a current trade for it, PLTR. I'm already in that one. That is making new highs. ADM, agriculture company. Looks good. This is one that just keeps testing this area and selling off. It tests this area and sells off. It just did it again on Friday, so this one's not ready yet on the watch list. KC Company, nice reaction to earnings. Consolidating that gain. We'll see if that can make a turn up in KC. That's one to watch. Definitely more expensive. Cigna Group making new lows. Nope. RB Global. Don't really like that as much. That's kind of all over the place for me. I like this one, Heritage Global. I had a problem getting over this area, and finally we got a lot of green bars, a lot of buying activity here. Big green bar, wide range, bottoming tail bar, another wide range bar, gap down and reversal. But then we have this topping tail, and then another reversal bar. This looks higher. It's pretty messy, so you have to give yourself a bigger stop, but over. This is definitely a cheaper stock. It's been in a long-term downtrend. See this red line? That's a long-term downtrend, but now we've got price pulling up these moving averages. See these starting to curl up? I kind of like that. Over 250 or 255, maybe even over 260. I like that. Cheap stock, bottoming pattern. I'm a bottom feeder. I kind of like that one. So that's definitely one to consider this month. Riot, similar to Mara. It's just can't get going. Duolingo, the language company, sold off hard after earnings and just been sideways ever since. So this was interesting. If we look at the monthly chart on Duo, had a big move up off the bottom, big move up from $70 area up to almost 250. That is that's impressive. But ever since that time, it's made this top, double, triple top with a big range expansion bar here. That looks lower. So this is a case where we're going to put this on the top heavy tech list because that could go quite a bit lower. And we're going to watch out for that one to bottom up. So big range of bar, inside bar now in July, a red bar so far in July. So that looks lower. Duolingo. 17. Nope, not yet. HLIT. Maybe, but it'd have to get over this area. VIV, no. American Coastal Insurance kind of made a more of a top-end pattern there. I don't like that. Kratos. That looks like it ignored this bar. If that can make a turn here, I would like that. If this green bar this month starts to move back up and test the 22 area, I like symbol KTOS. Checkpoint Software has been that looks very good right now. This gave us a 3-bar turn on a monthly chart, new high to start July. Let's look at the weekly chart on that one. Yeah, this made a nice turn, weekly turn. Right here, made the turn right where that bottoming tail bar was at. Over these highs, I like that one. Checkpoint Software. This has been on my list for a long time. The ideal entry would have been somewhere over this area. Maybe there. It's really gotten bottomed up over the last 4 or 5 days. So I would wait on checkpoint to see if we get a pullback. Better buying opportunity on checkpoint, but that's definitely on the list for July. In fact, that should be on my weekly list. Let's see if it's on that list. Yeah, it's on this week's list. So that's being watched. TRV Travelers, no, it's in downtrend. Progressive, sideways trend. It just keeps getting knocked back every time it hits 212, 215. Keep watching that one. MCK McKesson. So we looked at healthcare stocks. I know this is in that industry. We had a big move up. I've had a pretty steady pullback. See how these bars are kind of sequential? And then it starts changing where you get, in between doji bar. Then we get a bottoming tail bar. And then we get this gap down reverses. Doesn't make it high. But the next bar opens where the previous one closed. We get a bottoming tail. And it closes over those two. I like that. So McKesson, not a cheap stock. 587. That's a bit out of my comfort zone, but maybe, if that's in your comfort area, I like that based on that healthcare ETF we looked at. If that could get back up over this 20-period moving average, I would like that. Or maybe an option. If you understand options, that could be a possibility on that one. Limbach is kind of consolidating these gains. I don't like that they're not consolidating near the highs, and there's quite a few red bars. Not right now. I see Zoom. That is weird. Oh, looks like that's going out of business. Meta. She's had a big breakout. Look at that. Wow. New highs on Friday for Meta. 539 out of this consolidation area. That's moving up. CSP Inc. I don't know that company, but it's obviously on my list. Consolidated here for quite a while. Made a higher low. Made that 3-bar turn. Came up. Now we've got this reversal. We've got a green bar. We've got a red bar, which didn't break the low, the previous bar. Then we've got almost a move down. Retested these two and then moved right back up. So I like that one. What was the high of this? 1570. High of this was 1582, and the high of this was 1580. So we've come over this big red bar. I like that one. It's got an area to move into. Risk to reward. Let's look at that. We've got risk of. This I would give this more of a stop, maybe down to here. So you could use about maybe $1.25, $1.30 stop. If your reward could easily be here or even up here. A couple of potential targets on that would be maybe 1750 and 1960 to $20. I would like that risk to reward. I like that it's got this 3-bar sandwich after a higher low. I like that these moving averages are pointing up. Even the long-term moving average is pointing up. So this is a pullback and a big uptrend. Let's take a look at the monthly chart on that. Yeah, this is a big pullback. Look at that. So if you want to do some research on that one, look at what industry it's in. Looks like earnings probably won't be until next month. But that looks like that's got a void to move back up. So CSP Inc. I like that one. That should be on this week's list. And now it is. So that looks positive. It's not a very expensive stock. So that looks like a decent risk reward. NVIDIA made new highs, and so far in July is just kind of more of an inside bar there. This, I kind of like this. This was in stage 1. Had some stage 2 activity, and I was pulled back. If that can make a turn up, I like Life Med. Garmin, a very strong company. That looks like that is testing the highs there. Soleno. I don't like those big range bars there. I don't like that one. Vertex. That looks like that's getting ready to start making new highs in VERX, so watch that one. Dollar General made a low, came up. Looks like that may retest low, so Dollar General is just a watch. Amazon making new highs. Wow. What a bargain that was at $80 or even $90. What a bargain that was for Amazon. Clearly trading over all this resistance. That's going to continue to make new highs. That looks really good. Netflix, again, nice power uptrend in Netflix. We'll see if it can get over these highs. Netflix just looks like that, continues to perform. Signet Jewelers, it's been sold off recently, so that looks like that could be lower. CYXI, more stage one, sideways trend, upbound. Early stage, late stage one. Looked like stage two pulled back and has not been able to get over this area of around $35, so that is a watch. But if it does, that's definitely got some vacuum to move into for UPBD, symbol for upbound group. Bots. This looks like this has a decent chance of moving up over this area. So I would say bots over 32. Potential reward on that one between maybe 36 and $40. So that's got the risk reward going for it. Marvel. I don't like all these top and tails. Right now it looks okay, but maybe one to watch, see how that performs in July. New holdings. Made new high in June. Looks like it may have a continuation in July. I really like that one. It had this test here. This was also a test, this bottom and tail, now another bottom and tail in July. So that looks like that can continue to perform. Symbol NU. Block. Block looks also very good, related to blockchain. Definitely like that over 37 to come up and test the highs. So that looks like that is a decent risk reward. And symbol BLOK block, that's an ETF. ARHS had a big move up in May, sold off in June, selling off in July. So this is one to watch for more of a pullback trade. Symbol ARHS. Patterson Dental continuing to be a non-performer. TPR, I had a trade, stopped out of this. Still doesn't look positive. It's got to repair selling that took place. Hershey is in this sideways trend. Sideways stage one. Will that continue to move down, or can that turn around along with the other food companies in the consumer staples sector? So that is a watch on Hershey. Shutterstock still selling off, not yet. We already looked at that one. Nerd Wallet. This has had an interesting move up off this double bottom. Again, has been moving up since May, June, now July is over those areas. So I like Nerd Wallet to get up to maybe the 17 area or over 17 from 1549. So that's a possible one to take a look at or consider this month. Let's see if that's on our watch list. Yeah, it's on this week's list, so we'll keep an eye on that. Pekar pulling back pretty steady, so that's had a nice run, but is selling off. Public services looking like that can continue to make new highs. Very strong company. RX site. This has been on my list for a while. It's really extended on this monthly chart. I would like to see that go sideways for several months or pull back some more in price. Very strong. Spotify seems to just continue to make new highs. And we did have a topping tail here on earnings, but next month it recovered. June it recovered, actually made a new high, but now in July it's inside of that previous month. So let's see if that gives us a pullback buy opportunity in Spotify. Clearly the winner in streaming, radio, and podcasting over iHeart. Visa, been pulling back for 3 or 4 months. Let's see if that can make a turn there. Verizon, along with these other cellular companies, has been looking much better over the last several months. So that could get moving over maybe 42.75. I like Verizon there. XPO Transportation been pulling back for 4 or 5 months, so that has experienced some selling. 10-cent music, how about that? This was a penny stock here, and now it's really come up. So I like 10-cent, either over June's high, so over 15 and a quarter, or see if it pulls back, gives us a better buy setup. 10-cent music. AIG. The financial sector chart looked positive to neutral. So if that financial sector continues to perform, I would expect AIG to perform. Mueller Industries has been pretty nice power uptrend. Let's see if that gives us a setup to buy into. Weave Communications. That looks like that may start to make that turn up. Easy target for that would be this red bar, 1150, from 912 to 1150. So that could give you maybe a short-term trade, or maybe getting in early if that can turn up again. What else do we got? Let's look at Expedia. That's a popular company. So travel, we had a bottoming pattern, breakout, pullback. Like Expedia over 136. DoorDash. That's been doing pretty good. I like that it pulled back. It's bought up in earnings and then it sold off after earnings. So I never know what that means. But if that can make the turn up here in July, I like DoorDash over 119. Shopify. Shopify like that. That's starting to make the turn here. You got the bottom pattern, higher low, maybe a second higher low. So I like Shopify there. What else? Here's one I traded a long time back. Open Text, OTEX. Wow, that sold off pretty hard. Big move up, big sell off, move up, and then just sold off. So maybe, I don't know. That's just a watch. How about Apple? Making new highs in Apple. So that looks really, but that's just going to continue higher over long term Apple. Anyway, I think that's it. Let's look at maybe last one we'll look at will be Airbnb. That's been on my list for a long time. I made this buy setup here, and then it moved up for 4 or 5 months. Now it's pulled back to this 10-month moving average. I kind of like Airbnb over 156. So Airbnb over 156 looks positive. On a weekly chart, now I don't like that big red bar, but it has started to recover from that earnings. Whatever that earnings announcement was doesn't look good. See daily, what the daily chart looks like. Daily, it's starting to kind of move up. So this probably was Tuesday. This is Wednesday. This is probably Friday. This makes kind of a turn up here. I like Airbnb. It's a pretty popular company, and we are in vacation season. Anyway, let's end it there. I think that's enough. Let's go back to our closing slide. Let's again. This is Phil at Laptop Traders. My email contact if you have any questions or concerns. LaptopTraderPhil@gmail.com, and we will see you in August. Take care. Thanks for watching. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe. Bye, guys.